I believe in the proper role of government. I think that there are things that government can do that no one else can step in and do if government falls down on the job. If we don't have roads taken care of, if we don't have water, if we don't have police and fire protection, nobody else is going to step in and do that instead of the government. So I really feel like that's something that needs to be focused on and funded fully so that the citizens can feel that life is good and their rights and their freedoms are protected. And beyond that, extra money is great, but those are the essentials. Another thing that concerns me is the way that our city ordinances are drafted. I've learned over a long time of watching the city council function that there really is kind of a knee-jerk response to problems that come up in the city. That there will be an issue and shortly after that there will be an ordinance passed so that that will never be an issue again. And that's a dangerous thing. They're not all enforced, but if they were, I always like to look at it, you know, I'm the oldest of 10 and I've got siblings that like to push, you know, the limits of things. And so I like to say, what's the worst thing that could happen if they took it all the way to the extreme? Well, if somebody were to get into office and actually enforce everything that's on the books right now, we would not feel like we were in a free country. We'd feel like we were living under tyranny. As a UTOPIA subscriber myself, I'm concerned about that investment to get the fiber from the street to my house. And I realize that a lot of people in our city have made that investment. I think we need to do everything we can so that it continues to function. Because to have citizens invest and then have that go dark would be a nightmare. So I think that anything we could do, if that means, first off, getting a business plan that's actually viable. When I read reports from the Auditor General that says their business plan doesn't work, I'm really concerned. So I'd like to see an actual business plan put together and reviewed and presented to UTOPIA, presented to the other cities, and see if we can't pull this together and make it actually function. Well, the cemetery comes immediately to mind. As I get to look out my front window and watch the funerals and the burials in process, and there are the occasional ironic, humorous things that happen, but usually I just see that there are so many plots that are already taken. And as I watch someone come and one of the employees and they start digging somewhere, I think, wow, they're going to manage to cram another casket in between those headstones that are already there. I'm just amazed that there are any plots left. So I'm really concerned about what will we do when we've used them up. My grandparents and my great-grandparents lived here, like I mentioned, and when I think about Centerville, I think about a small town. And I've heard small town from so many candidates, and I'm not sure that there's one definition of small town. I think of small town where children can still walk across the street and it's safe. I think of small town where there's not light rail, where there's not any rail in the ground that's going to cause a breakup of the traffic like that, where we're not encouraging people to get off on our exit just to drive through to Farmington. I think anything we can do to push that extra traffic west would help the small town feel of Centerville that I want to preserve. As I've watched the City Council, I have realized, for one thing, that when I go down to City Council, I pretty much have my pick of 60 chairs. And at first I thought, now what's with Centerville citizens that they're not coming to City Council? Don't they care about their city? But then I watched as issues would come up and citizens did come out and did say what they wanted. And then as I've watched and I've realized there's a pattern. A topic comes up and there's discussion about it and there becomes a consensus. Usually not a unanimous agreement, but at least a majority. And then just before they're ready, it sounds like, oh, they're going to vote on this and it's going to pass. Then there's a comment, now wait, you can't vote on it right now, there needs to be a public hearing. And so there will be an advertisement of a public hearing, they'll hurry and put it in, and so the next City Council meeting will have that public hearing. Public opinion will be expressed on that topic, and frequently it's a, bad idea, not what we want in our city. And then the public hearing closes, and there's a vote taken. Immediately. There's time for discussion, but there's rarely any discussion after the public comment. And the vote reflects what they had already decided before the public came and said anything. Why? Why are we asking people to come and express their opinion if we don't care what they say? And we're going to go ahead with what we'd already decided. And I don't think that sitting in those chairs with the microphone gives you a direct conduit to all great ideas. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm an emergency block captain. I'm a fourth-generation Centerville resident, and I'm a devoted attendee of City Council. I love it. It's crazy. I like to sign up for extra meetings, I guess you could say, but I love my city, and I love the local politics and the things that happen only at a local level that can impact our daily lives in a way that big things in far-off places don't impact. I'd really like to be able to be on the City Council, to be able to slow down the process a little bit on some of these issues where things have gotten a little ahead of the game and citizens have come after the fact and said, we don't like this, but it's already too late to really stop the ball rolling. I'd like to slow that down a little. I'd like to see citizens be able to come to the city and learn together, maybe learn together with the City Council. I think the current presentation of materials prior to City Council on the internet so that everyone has them is a great step in that direction. I'd like to see a button on the website that says, here are some volunteer service opportunities, because there's something about serving your community and getting together with like-minded citizens that builds a feeling that nothing government provides can do. As I think about the windstorm, that we were so prepared on an emergency basis. We were so prepared for an event like that and knew how to declare a disaster, how to apply for aid. All those things were already in place from the things that Larry was able to get organized on the community emergency response plan. I really valued that disaster because it brought us together as a community. And I don't like to wait for a disaster to have us have that feeling. I'd like to have volunteer opportunities so that we can get together and we can enjoy each other and really remember what this city was founded on. The friendships and the working hard together, pitching in at neighbors if there's an issue and you're concerned. Maybe it's let's have a neighborhood project and weed a place. You know, I don't know. There are a lot of opportunities for us to reach out to each other and cross ideal boundaries or political boundaries or church boundaries, whatever it is, and just reach out and make sure that we're all included and that this is our city and that we're proud to live here and that we're happy. So that's the Centerville I want. That's the Centerville I'm hoping to be able to help with. So thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.